Hi everyone, welcome to our September balcony garden tour. As the season is winding down, we thought we would film another tour since the last one we did was back in May, and a lot has changed over here. We've got a new addition to the garden right here in front of me. I'm very excited about it, and I'll talk in more detail about it in a bit. And I'll start the tour here in this corner where I still have some red basil growing, although it has gone to seed, so it's probably on its way out, but I've enjoyed it quite a bit this season. And over here I've got two dwarf tomato plants. They're actually the exact same variety, Tiny Tim, but one is planted in a larger pot while the other one is in a smaller pot, and the difference is pretty drastic. So I think the conclusion is definitely that this plant does much better when it has more space to grow. Now this variety is actually really cool. It's the first time we're growing it, but what it's known for is that it puts out 3 times more blossoms and fruit than it does leaves. So it's quite prolific, especially for such a small dwarf tomato. Now this season has been a very difficult one for tomatoes. It's been quite cold in the spring, and there's been quite a lot of rain and inconsistent temperatures, so it just hasn't been a good season at all. And as you can see, it looks like I have powdery mildew on this plant. I've never had this issue with tomato plants before, so it's a new one for me. But such as it is, we're looking forward to the few crops that are still left on this plant. And here I've got a celery plant. I'm actually quite proud I finally got celery to grow. I've been trying many times to get the seeds to germinate, and I haven't been successful until this year. So I'm really looking forward to harvesting some homegrown celery. And this is a sweet potato experiment. Not super confident about it. I don't know if there's any sweet potatoes growing there, but we'll find out soon enough. And then here on the railing, I've got a couple of pots with green onions. They've been growing all season, so they're kind of starting to look a bit rough, and they're definitely picked out. But they've served me well. And this is cinnamon basil. It's really good in teas, so we've been enjoying it all summer. And again, it's on its way out, but I'm keeping it around for the bees to enjoy. And then this little pot is a combination between some parsley and some more green onions. And this vertical planter is a new addition to the garden. We lost use of the balcony for about a month this year because of some work that had to be done in the building. And so the plants were camping out in the living room, which wasn't ideal, which made me realize that using the vertical space would definitely benefit us having such a small space to begin with. So we decided to go ahead and invest in this vertical planter. It's a tower of 6 layers. 3 are a little bit smaller to grow more leafy greens and smaller plants, and then the 3 on the bottom are a bit large enough for us to actually grow tomatoes and peppers in. So each layer has 6 pockets, giving us ample space to grow a variety of different plants. As you can see, this has turned into a green tower, and the crown of it, we've got some flowers. It's gorgeous calendula, and even a miniature rose, some lemongrass, some lemon balm, and then we've got some bush beans, a few different varieties of tomatoes, and then miniature cucumber plant. curious if it's going to give us any fruit. There's a pepper plant, and then some more tomatoes. This is such a cool tomato variety. It's called Silver Fir Tree. It's just so whimsical. I've never seen anything like it. Now moving along the railing, I've got some Mizuna planted here, although I have to say that it has succumbed to pest pressures. It seems that there's quite a bit of white fly eggs on the plant, so I'm gonna have to pull it out. But I seem to be getting these every year, so I'm wondering what can be done to avoid these white flies. Now moving along in this container, we've got some flowers planted, some marigolds and some calendula. And these are 2 pepper plants. One is jalapeno. We actually harvested quite a few jalapenos off of it, so it's been quite prolific, although I am seeing some issues, yellowing of the leaves, so it's not doing amazing, but it's cropping. And this is a sweet pepper plant. We have yet to have any peppers off of it, but hopefully there's enough time in the season left to harvest. This side of the railing has cooler season crops. I've got some watermelon radishes planted here. It's my first time growing them, so quite excited. Over here is lettuce. It's just coming up. This variety is called Joker. It has really fun little spots on the leaves. And then here I've got spinach that's just starting to come up. And then over there, white radish seeds, which have yet to come up. This is our parsley plant. It's been going strong all season. I keep picking at it and it just keeps growing more and more. So we will continue to enjoy parsley for as long as we can. This is a little experiment. I decided to plant tomato a little bit late in the season just to see how far into the season I can grow tomatoes and then bring it indoors when it gets too cold. So I am quite curious if I might actually have tomatoes in October or maybe even November. So we'll see how this little experiment goes. And then on this side, we've got another celery. There's actually quite a bit of it here. So I'm actually quite excited to see it size up so that we can use it in soups and stews in the fall. And then a lonely little zinnia here. And then this corner, we have some compost set up where we're using trimmings from the garden to then have homemade fertilizer for the plants. And this is a tomato plant. This is called Carolina Gold. It's a yellow-orange tomato. Again, our first time growing it. We're actually experimenting this year with a lot of different tomatoes that are new to us. So quite curious to see how it does. So far, even though it's starting to look sad, which is normal for tomatoes at the end of the season, it does have quite a few tomatoes. And they're actually decent size. And it's not overwhelming to take care of. It's small enough to grow in the balcony. I'm trying to grow some beets here, but we'll see. We'll see how they do. Maybe they will make it, maybe they won't. And then last but not least is Swiss chard. This has been growing strong all summer, all season long. So very, very happy with this particular plant. And then another lonely little zinnia on the way. Thanks for joining us